Interesting stuff, right? What if I told you that the way you see your brand could be holding you back? Most brands compete on the same playing field, fighting for attention and if you have budget, running ads and chasing leads. But the ones that break through, they stop playing by the old rules. And just like how Marriott stopped thinking of itself as just a hotel chain, Liverpool stopped thinking of itself as just a pool company. Instead, river pools became experts, teaching, sharing, and shaping the conversation in their industry. They didn't try to outmarket the competition. They made themselves the go-to source of information. And when you're the one people trust, they come to you. So, how do you build a content strategy that does the same? Let's get into it. A content strategy is a plan that uses content to achieve business goals. A strong strategy doesn't just attract an audience, it keeps them engaged at every stage, even after they've made a purchase. And that word plan is key. Without one, content marketing becomes random, inconsistent, and ultimately ineffective. If you remember from our analytics class, if you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. And the truth is, a lot of brands are failing, not because they lack great ideas or talented creators, but mainly because they don't have a clear documented strategy. Without a plan, content becomes random, inconsistent, and disconnected from business goals. It's kind of like throwing darts in the dark, hoping something is going to hit the dartboard and maybe even the bullseye. But meanwhile, companies with a well-defined content strategy stay focused, they create with purpose, and they see real results. And that's where you have an advantage, because most of your competition isn't doing this. You see, 52% of companies that struggle with content marketing have one thing in common. They don't have a documented content strategy. They're creating content without direction, posting without purpose, and hoping for results that will never come. In other words, they planned to fail. Let's make sure you don't. So, what does it take to build a content marketing strategy that actually works? The good news is that if you've been paying attention in class, you already know most of it. It's not about guessing or hoping for the best. It's about taking what you've learned so far and structuring it into a plan that moves your brand forward. A strong content marketing strategy is built on 5 core elements: understanding your audience, defining your brand's positioning, establishing a clear content mission, setting measurable goals, and creating a structured action plan. First, you need to know who you're speaking to, your audience. This is where your personas came in. Without this, even the best content won't connect. Then it's about positioning your brand in a way that stands out, ensuring that your story and values come through consistently. A well-defined content mission is going to keep everything focused, guiding what you create and why you're creating it. But content also needs to serve a purpose beyond engagement, which is why setting clear business goals is essential, whether that's driving sales, building awareness, or strengthening customer loyalty. And then finally, none of this works without a plan. This is the detailed roadmap outlining what to create, when to publish, and how to measure success. That's what turns ideas into results. So let's break these down and look at how to put them into action. Each of these elements plays a really important role in shaping an effective strategy. So let's break them down, see how they work together, and build a content plan that delivers real results. So you can't effectively tell your brand story without knowing who you're speaking to. And that's why identifying your target audience is the first and most important step in developing a content strategy. Understanding who they are, what they care about, and how they engage with content is going to help shape everything from the tone you use to the topics you cover. There are several ways to define your audience. You can start by surveying existing customers. That is going to help you gain direct insights into their needs and their preferences. You could also research industry trends. That can help reveal patterns in consumer behavior that inform your approach. And just as important as knowing what you want to reach is understanding who isn't your audience. This helps focus on your efforts and avoid wasted resources. And of course, paying attention to your competitors can provide valuable clues which audiences are already engaged and where there may be opportunities to stand out. The key is to be able to communicate this clearly, not just for yourself, but for everyone involved in shaping your brand's messaging and content. The better that you define your audience, the more effective your content will be in reaching them. It's also important to recognize that not all audience members engage with your brand in the same way. Your audience as a whole includes anyone who has shown interest in what you do, but within that broad group, there are key segments that shape how your content should be tailored. Your followers are kind of the ones who stay connected because they enjoy your brand and want to hear more from you. They engage with your content, they keep up with updates, and they maintain an ongoing relationship with what you offer. Buyers, they take it a step further. They don't just engage with your content, they also invest in you. They see value in what you provide and they're willing to make a purchase. But the most valuable group of all are your advocates. These are the people who don't just buy. They talk about you, they recommend you, they bring others into your ecosystem. They are amplifying your message simply because they believe in what you do. Understanding these segments are going to help you ensure that your content resonates at every level, from building awareness to developing deep loyalty. Positioning your brand is about shaping how your audience perceives you. It's what sets you apart from your competitors and ensures that when people think of your industry, your name stands out. But that kind of recognition doesn't happen by accident. It requires clarity and consistency. So before you can create compelling content, you need to understand exactly who you're trying to reach, the audience, what they care about, and why your brand is the right choice for them. At its core, positioning is about answering key questions like who are your customers and what are they looking for, what unique value do you provide, and why should they choose you over the competition. These aren't just kind of abstract ideas. They really shape everything from the way that you craft your messaging to the kinds of stories that you tell. And storytelling is the critical part of this. Your brand story isn't just a timeline of events or a slogan. It's about what really gives your brand depth. It's about defining the main character, your customer. Your audience is the main character, and a lot of brands get this wrong. Identifying the challenges that they face and showing how your brand plays a meaningful role in their journey. If anything, your brand is more like a mentor in the story than the main character. So when done well, this creates an emotional connection that makes your audience feel invested in your success. For small businesses and startups, this is especially powerful. Your unique background, your mission and values are assets that help you stand out in a crowded market. When you position your brand effectively, you're not just selling a product or service, you're creating an identity that resonates with the right people. Your brand story isn't just a description of what you do, it's the foundation of how your audience connects with you. It's a blend of your history, mission, and values, but more importantly, it's about the role that you play in your customers' lives. When people engage with a brand, they're not just looking for products or services, they're looking for something that aligns with their needs, challenges, and aspirations. So think of your customer as the hero in the story. They have goals, obstacles, and decisions to make. Your brand's personality, purpose, and values all contribute to how you guide them toward a solution. Every piece of content you create should reinforce this, showing how your brand fits into their journey. For small businesses and startups, storytelling is one of the most powerful ways to stand out. So your background, like why you started, what you believe in, those are all assets that can build stronger connections with your audience. The more clearly you define and document this, the easier it becomes to create content that resonates and reinforces your brand's position. Your content marketing mission statement is the guiding principle behind everything that you create. It's helping you define the purpose of your content, and it makes it clear who it's for and why it matters. Without that kind of clarity that this document provides, the content marketing mission statement, your content can become scattered, making it harder to build a loyal audience. So at the heart of this is your own media value proposition. This is the unique value your content provides. Your audience, you have to recognize, has countless options. So why should they choose yours to engage with? Whether it's deeper insights, a fresh perspective, or a more relatable voice, your content needs to offer something that they can't easily find somewhere else. And this is also where you set yourself apart from competitors. What do you bring to the table that others don't? It's not, about being different. It's really about adding value. How can you add value in ways that no one else is adding it? So when people find your content useful, engaging, or inspiring, they're more likely to return and become part of your audience on a regular basis. Getting this right is super critical. A strong mission statement is going to give you direction. It's going to help you focus on content that serves a clear purpose and ensure that everything you create aligns with your goal or goals. So your content marketing mission statement should clearly define who your content is for and how it helps them. Without that clarity, your content, like I said, is going to feel scattered and making it harder to build an engaged audience. At its core, the mission statement is basically like a promise to your audience. It's setting the expectations and it's keeping your content focused. For example, if you were a musician, if you were using social media to promote your music, you might say something like, "My content is where indie music fans and aspiring musicians discover new sounds, behind the scenes stories, and creative insights." And then you help them connect with music on a deeper level and inspiring them in their own artistic journey. This works because it defines both the audience, the indie fans and musicians, and the value, music discovery, storytelling, and inspiration. It shifts the content from self-promotion to community building. And while this example is for musicians, this same principle applies to any creator or business. So whether you're a fitness coach, a small business owner, or an artist, a clear mission ensures that your content stands out and serves a real purpose. Content marketing should do more than attract attention. It should really support your business goals. So a strong content strategy should provide value to your audience while also moving your business forward. And that's why defining clear goals is essential. So start by looking at the bigger picture. What are your key business and marketing goals? It could be something like maybe you want to start establishing yourself as the go-to expert in your field or increase revenue from digital sales. Those are pretty common ones. Once you know your high-level goals, the next step is figuring out how content can help get you there. And that means setting specific objectives. Are you focused on growing website traffic? Maybe you're wanting to increase engagement on your social media. Maybe you want to generate leads. So defining, clear KPIs can help measure progress and ensure your content is working towards something meaningful. And just like we discussed earlier with audience segmentation, different goals will require different approaches. These metrics that measure building awareness, they're not going to be the same as the ones that are driving conversions. So knowing what your targets and segments are going to help shape the type of content that you produce and how you measure its impact. Back in class 7, we talked about how social media goals tend to fall into 4 main categories: awareness, engagement, conversion, and consumer. Awareness metrics show how many people are basically discovering your brand, while engagement metrics are going to track how audiences interact with your content. Conversion metrics, they're measuring whether those interactions lead to meaningful actions like purchases or signups. And then consumer metrics, they're the ones that are giving insights into customers and how they feel about and engage with your brand beyond individual interactions. So these categories, they help provide a solid foundation for shaping your content marketing goals. So when it's time to get specific, use them as a guide to ensure your strategy is measurable and aligned with your broader business objectives. Okay. Research like SEMrush, State of Content Marketing Report gives us a snapshot of where marketers are focusing their efforts and what's providing to be the most valuable. Using industry research like this can really give you some insight into what you might want to focus on, and keep up with it. Year after year, increasing brand awareness and driving traffic remain top priorities. But other goals like generating leads, boosting sales, and improving customer engagement also play really important roles. These insights, they're interesting, but they also help make you make more informed decisions about your own content strategy. By looking at the trends in the industry, you can see where others are finding success and where there might be gaps or opportunities for you. If most companies are prioritizing brand awareness, it might indicate that standing out in a crowded space is more challenging than ever. If lead generation is a major focus, it suggests that businesses are finding ways to turn audience interest into tangible results that drive money. The key takeaway here is that keeping an eye on industry research is going to help you refine your own approach, aligning your efforts with proven strategies while also identifying areas where you can differentiate yourself. And these findings align closely with the common social media goals that we covered in class 7. Goals are like increasing brand awareness, driving engagement, generating leads. They're all consistently at the core of successful content strategies. Businesses aren't just creating content for the sake of it, they're using it to strengthen their reputation, attract customers, and build long-term relationships. Understanding these priorities really helps ensure that your content strategy isn't random but intentional. So whether your focus is on visibility, conversions, or community building, aligning your efforts with proven goals increases the likelihood of success. And as we've seen, brands that take a strategic approach tend to outperform those that simply post content without direction. And this is also a good time to conduct a content audit. Similar to the analytics audit that we covered in class 7, a content audit is the process of reviewing and organizing your existing content to determine what's working, what isn't, and where improvements can be made. Done correctly, it can help maximize the value of your content while saving time and resources. A well-executed content audit allows you to refine your strategy by identifying high-performing pages, areas of opportunity, and any gaps in your content. It really helps ensure that everything you publish aligns with your goals and resonates with your audience. The process involves setting clear content goals, identifying the assets to evaluate, collecting relevant metrics, and analyzing the data to determine the next steps. The key is to use this information to make informed decisions, whether that means optimizing older content, repurposing it in new formats, or eliminating what's no longer relevant. So keeping track of your findings in an organized way, like in a spreadsheet, that can help make the process more manageable. Ultimately, a content audit is more than just about cleaning up content. It's really about making sure that every piece of content that you create is intentional and contributes to your broader strategy. According to SEMrush, 65% of companies with highly successful content marketing efforts conduct content audits at least twice a year. So this practice really plays a really important role in improving performance, with many reporting increased engagement, higher rankings, and more organic traffic as direct results. So regular content audits basically ensure that existing content remains relevant, up to date, and optimized for search and audience engagement. The data shows us that nearly half of marketers who updated their content saw an increase in engagement, while others experienced improvements in rankings and website traffic. On the flip side, those who didn't update their content were far more likely to see no change or even a decline in their performance. So the takeaway here is pretty clear. Maintaining and optimizing content isn't just a best practice, it's a proven strategy for sustaining and growing your reach. So there are plenty of tools available to simplify the content audit process. They can help you analyze performance, identify gaps, and refine your strategy. Platforms like Screaming Frog, Casted, SEMrush, Google Analytics, DynoMapper, and WooRank are among the most widely used. Each of them offers different features, from technical SEO insights to audience engagement tracking, and that's going to help make it be easier to evaluate what's working and what needs improvement. The key is to really choose tools that align with your goals, whether that's optimizing for search rankings, improving engagement, or refining your content strategy. A well-executed audit backed up by the right tools really ensures that your content stays relevant and continues to drive results. So again, back in class 7, we covered the digital marketing measurement model, which includes audits, goal setting, defining objectives, identifying key performance indicators, setting targets, and understanding audience segments. Once you've gone through this process, you'll have a clear, structured document that outlines exactly what needs to be achieved. And, like I said, this isn't just a formality. It's something that has to be done just for the sake of it. It should act more like a roadmap that ensures that your content strategy is aligned with your broader business goals. Without it, efforts can start to feel scattered, like I said, making it harder to measure progress and optimize results. So by documenting everything, you create a reference point that keeps your strategy focused and actionable, which will be handy because this document is exactly what should be included in your business case. So before putting your strategy into action, a documented business case helps clarify the benefits, costs, and risks of your content marketing efforts. So whether you're a company, a small business, or just someone who's using social media, having a clear plan ensures that your content has purpose and direction. For businesses, this might mean securing approval for content investment. But for individuals, it could just help refine a personal brand, grow a following, or land freelance work. Even casual social media users can benefit by identifying what content resonates most and how to engage their audience effectively. Your business case doesn't need to be complex. It could be just a simple document. Maybe it's a spreadsheet or even just notes on your phone. The goal is to have a clear, adaptable plan that keeps your content focused and impactful that you can reference. Finally, in step 5, you're going to outline your key content marketing campaigns and projects for the year and add them to your content plan. As you do this, think about how each initiative supports the goals that you've already established. This step is going to ensure that every piece of content serves a purpose and aligns with your overall strategy. So consider what formats will be most effective, which topics and campaigns should take priority, and where your content will be distributed to reach the right audience. Taking the time to plan at this level helps keep your content efforts organized, intentional, and ultimately more successful. And inside the action plan, you're going to want to develop a high-level editorial plan and content calendar. This is going to help you stay organized and ensure that your content efforts remain consistent and effective over time. A well-planned content calendar allows you to allocate resources wisely, keeping track of what's needed and when. It also helps you identify which workflows might take longer than expected, giving you a chance to make adjustments before deadlines sneak up on you. More importantly, it keeps expectations realistic and ensures that your content strategy stays on track. So let me break that down a little bit further. One of the most important parts of planning is knowing what to prioritize. Not everything can happen at once, so deciding which tasks are most critical or the easiest to test can make all the difference. By focusing on what matters most, you reduce the risk of wasting time and resources on efforts that won't move the needle. You also create space for small experiments that could lead to big wins. So prioritization can be based on different factors like the potential impact of a campaign, the resources you have available, or even the timing of a product or service launch. By sorting through these priorities, you'll be able to structure your content plan in a way that sets you up for success. Next, you need to determine the key themes that will guide your content. What topics do you want to focus on over the next year? The best themes are those that remain relevant over time and continue to provide value to your audience. When deciding if a topic is worth pursuing, you want to consider two main things: how useful it is going to be to your audience and whether it supports your overall business goals. So a strong theme does both. It's going to resonate with people that you're trying to reach while also contributing to your brand's growth. Once you've outlined your themes, the next step is to dive into keyword research to refine and optimize your content strategy. Back in class 6, we talked about keyword research tools like SEMrush, Moz Keyword Explorer, vidIQ, and Social Blade, and Google Keyword Planner. These tools really help identify what your audience is searching for, and that's going to make it easier to create content that gets noticed. Strong keyword research guides your content strategy by highlighting relevant topics with high search potential. Once you've gathered the right keywords, the next step is organizing them effectively. And this ensures that your content is structured in a way that builds authority and keeps your audience engaged. Grouping related content into topic clusters is a smart way to keep your content organized and build credibility in your field. Instead of posting random content, structuring your posts around key themes helps both your audience and social media platforms recognize your expertise. It can also help make it easier to plan, repurpose, and create consistent, engaging content. For example, if you were an illustrator, your social media content could be built around 3 main clusters. One could focus on the creative process, and that could include things like behind-the-scenes content. Maybe you take people on a video sketchbook tour, and maybe you want to share some idea generation strategies that you use. This type of content is perfect for things like Instagram stories, TikTok videos, or carousel posts showcasing progress, over time. Another cluster could highlight client work. This could be things like covering freelance tips, how you price things out, the pricing strategies that you use, and maybe handling revisions, like getting client feedback and like how you handle that. Sharing insights through LinkedIn posts or Reddit threads or Instagram captions, that can all help attract potential clients and establish authority in the industry. It's also great for networking, like just your peers will find it helpful, and when they need help, they might refer to you. And for personal projects, a third cluster you could feature are things like passion projects. These could be things like art challenges, or maybe you have some original characters you've created. This kind of content is ideal for YouTube Shorts or TikTok, or community building posts that invite followers to engage. So this approach really helps build of content clusters and pillar pages. They really help build an engaged audience by guiding them through related content while reinforcing your expertise. So even if you're not an illustrator, applying this to your niche is pretty simple. You start with a pillar topic. This is the main subject that you want to be known for, and then break it down into content clusters that cover related subtopics in depth. Each post should connect back to your core theme while providing value to your audience. So once you've mapped out your topics, adding them to your calendar ensures a steady flow of relevant content and makes it easier to stay consistent across platforms. When researching competitors, the goal isn't just to see what they're doing, it's to understand what's working and where there are opportunities for you to stand out. So pay attention to how they position themselves, the tone of voice that they use, and the audience they target. You want to look at the different types of content that they produce, whether it's blogs, videos, or podcasts, and then analyze which topics they focus on the most. Keyword research can also reveal what terms they rank for and where they're gaining the most traction. So tools like SEMrush or Ahrefs, they make the process easier, but you can also gather insights by exploring their websites, their social media feeds, and their content performance. And don't just look at direct competitors. Sometimes the biggest content competitors are outside your industry, but competing for the same audience's attention. So make sure you're casting a wide net when determining who your competitors are. Before creating content, it's really important that you clarify its purpose. And I feel like I've kind of going over that again, but that's good because it's really important. Every piece should serve a specific role in guiding your audience through their journey, from first discovering your brand to making a decision. The best way to structure this is by mapping out a content marketing funnel that ensures that you're addressing your audience's needs at each stage. One of the simplest and most effective ways to do this is through the AIDA model, which I've mentioned before. AIDA, again, stands for attention, interest, desire, and action. This framework helps structure your content to attract attention, spark curiosity, build desire for what you offer, and then ultimately lead to an action, which is probably a purchase. So whether you're crafting any kind of social media post or a blog article or a video, you want to understand where it fits within this process because that's going to help you make your content more effective. So the content calendar, like I've mentioned earlier, is one of the best tools to keep your content strategy organized and on track. It helps plan your campaigns, structure topic clusters, and streamline production, ensuring that everything aligns with your overall goals. When setting up your calendar, consider key details like topics, target dates, content formats, and the specific audience each piece is meant for. Keeping everything mapped out in one place makes it easier to stay consistent, track progress, and adapt when needed. And there are plenty of great content calendar tools out there, and different ones work better for different needs. What matters most isn't the tool itself, but how well it's used. So, if you don't use the tool, it doesn't matter which one you get. It's much better to find one that you like using and it's easy. A shared calendar is one way to think about doing that by having other people working with you on it. It keeps everybody on the same page, ensuring that the content is planned, produced, and published efficiently. According to SEMrush, involving other teams, especially those that interact with customers, can make your content more relevant and valuable. So sales teams, for example, they hear customer pain points firsthand and they can provide insights that shape stronger content. The more collaboration that you build into your content planning, the more effective it will be. The final step is planning your content production in a way that maximizes efficiency while minimizing any kind of wasted effort. This means looking at the resources that you have, things like your budget, team members, and tools, and then setting realistic timeline for content creation. You want to consider how frequently that you want to publish and whether you have the ability with your current setup to support that. Also look for any potential roadblocks that could slow things down. Would working with subject matter experts help streamline this research? Do you need design or development support to help bring your content to life? And most importantly, decide whether content production will be handled in-house or outsourced. The more thought that you put into this process, the smoother everything will run later. And a well-structured production plan really prevents last-minute chaos, ensuring that you stay consistent, maintain quality, and hit your content goals effectively. So now that the plan is in place, it's time to bring it to life. All the research, strategy, and organization that you've done so far means that nothing, if it isn't properly executed. So to make this process as smooth as possible, I'm going to break it down into 3 key steps so that you can focus on creating, distributing, and optimizing your content effectively. The first step is to start developing your content, but not just any content. Quality should always come before quantity. It's tempting to push out as much content as possible, but without originality and purpose, it won't have the impact that you're aiming for. So to create content that resonates, you want to focus on making it unique, explore different formats to reach a wider audience. You can repurpose what you've already created to have an extended lifespan on it, and then take advantage of user-generated content to build trust and engagement. So let's break down each of these so you can see how they work in practice. The fact is your content, isn't original. If it's not original, it's not going to stand out. So your audience is constantly exposed to some of the best content in the world. So if you want their attention from your content, you need to offer something that they can't find somewhere else. That means incorporating your unique experiences, your insights, and expertise into everything you create. The good news is everybody, no matter who they are, is unique. So if you lean into yourself and just focus on your point of view, your voice, as awkward as it might feel at times, you're likely to have way more success than trying to mimic or mirror somebody else. So whether it's your perspective, original research, or behind the scene details, these elements are going to help build credibility and trust. Both are essential for long-term growth. If you have the resources, consider investing in research, interviews, or creative collaborations that bring fresh ideas to life. What you want to avoid is simply rewording what's already out there. If your content is just a slightly different version of something that already exists, it's not going to give your audience a reason to engage. So the best way to stand out is to create something that only you can offer. Different types of content serve different purposes. SEMrush has a great graphic here that kind of shows a lot of those. Some formats work best for attracting new audiences, while others are better for keeping existing followers engaged or guiding them toward a purchase. The key is to include a mix of content that reaches people at various stages of their journey. So your content choices, they should be based on what your audience prefers and what has performed well in the past. This graphic really breaks down some options to consider, but remember that you don't need to use every format available. What matters is choosing the ones that align with your goals and genuinely connect with your audience. Each year, content marketing trends shift as audience preferences evolve. According to SEMrush's latest report for 2024, video continues to lead the way, making up 45% of top performing content. But success isn't just about videos. Formats like short form articles, case studies, and webinars, they remain essential for engaging different audiences. So a strong content strategy, you have to remember, isn't one size fits all. It's going to adapt what works best in the moment for your audience. So once you've published a piece of content, don't let it just sit there. You want to make sure that you try and repurpose it to reach new audiences in different ways. A well-researched blog post, that could be transformed into an infographic, or maybe a slideshow that could be converted to a carousel post. Maybe you could convert it into a podcast or even a short-form video. If you had a longer video or article, that could be broken down into smaller pieces to be shared as a series. On the flip side, several short pieces, you could combine them into a more in-depth guide or a white paper. Even simple blog posts can be repurposed into bite-sized snippets for social media, making your content work harder without having to constantly start from scratch and creating new content. If you get to the point where you can lean into user-generated content and your fans are creating content around what you're doing, then lean into that big time. User-generated content, or UGC, which is easier to say, is one of the easiest ways to build trust and engagement with your audience. So when people see real users sharing reviews, photos, and videos, it's adding authenticity to your brand in a way that traditional marketing can't. The best part, it's that, content you don't have to create yourself. Campaigns like Apple's Shot on iPhone campaign, leveraged by UGC by encouraging iPhone users to showcase their photography, turning customers basically into brand advocates. So whether it's highlighting customer testimonials, resharing tagged posts, or encouraging audience participation, incorporating UGC strengthens your brand's credibility while keeping your content fresh and diverse. All right, so we're on to step 2. This is all about getting your content in front of the right people. Creating valuable content is only half of the equation. If nobody sees it, it won't have the impact that you're aiming for. And that's where content distribution comes in. Your strategy should balance owned, earned, and paid media to maximize your reach. We talked a little bit about this in class 7. Owned media includes platforms that you control, like your website and social accounts. Earned media is exposure gained through word of mouth, press, or through people sharing your content. And then paid media is what it sounds like. That's things like ads, sponsored content, and those are helping amplify your message. So when you're planning your distribution, look at what has worked before and where your audience is most active. Maybe social media, email, search engines, and partnerships, they might play a role. And don't overlook new opportunities. Things like collaborations with other people in your industry, experts, or maybe influencers, they can help extend your reach beyond your existing audience. The key is to ensure that your content is not only created with intention, but also distributed strategically to drive real engagement. Based on research from SEMrush, the most popular content distribution channels back in 2021, a little old, but still relevant, included social media, which was organic and paid, took the #1 and #3 spot. Email marketing took second. Organic search took fourth. And sponsorships like events, webinars, and podcasts took fifth. Influencer marketing came in at eighth, and your response should go to the channels where your audience already spends most of their time. And that's going to help give your content the best chance of being seen. So your knowledge of the customers and their behavior should determine which channels should be in your mix. So look for data like this to support your decisions, or even better, if you can find more up-to-date data, look for something from 2025, and that can be really helpful. Step 3 is all about tracking your content's performance. Once your content is out in the world, your job isn't done. You need to continuously analyze what's working and what isn't. Understanding performance helps you refine your strategy, ensuring that your efforts lead to real results. Surprisingly, many marketers still don't track their content consistently, and that's leaving valuable insights on the table for them. So you don't want to be like them. You want to avoid that mistake. So to do that, you need to set up analytics tools. It could be Google Analytics. It could be SEMrush's position tracking. It could be some other form of tracking for each individual platform. Regardless, your measurement plan will help you get in that space, and then regularly check your key performance indicators to see if your content is supporting your business goals. Are you attracting the right audience? Are they engaging with your content? Are the conversions increasing? Keeping an eye on these metrics is going to allow you to adjust your strategy and make more informed decisions moving forward. And while the ways that we reach audiences evolve, the foundation of content marketing stays the same. It's all about understanding your audience, creating content that truly resonates with them, and making data-driven decisions to refine your approach. When you focus on customer needs and back your strategy with solid insights, you're setting yourself up for success. So stick to these core principles, and your content will continue to drive results, no matter how the landscape shifts. The thing to remember is that a solid content strategy sets you up for long-term success by keeping your efforts focused and your audience engaged. So whether you're running a business, growing a personal brand, or just looking to improve how you connect with an audience, having a plan makes everything easier. So if this breakdown helped clarify things for you, let me know by liking the video. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. If there's any topics you want me to expand on in future videos, also let me know in the comments for that as well. All right, see you in the next one.